Well, hello everybody. My name is Mike Geig. It's actually been a little while since I've done one of these. Oh, my mic's making a noise. Hope everyone's doing alright tonight. We can see there's still a bit of a Twitch lag. There's always a bit of a Twitch lag, but anyway, I hope you've all been well. Been traveling a lot, so I haven't been able to do one of these live presentations, especially like officially for Unity. So it's kind of like a random Thursday evening, but I got the itch to try something out new, and I thought, why not make it live so everyone can see me screw up, because those are always fun. So tonight we are kind of looking, well, hello. Tonight we are kind of looking at first-person shooters. There was some confusion when I said FPS as to what specifically that meant. I don't mean frames per second, I mean first-person shooters. And you know, we've made first-person shooters before. We have, by the way, how's my audio? My meter's showing me that it's peaking out, so I want to make sure I'm not too loud. But, so we've done first-person shooters before, but there's always some issues with first-person shooters, namely in bullet trajectory. And I kind of wanted to talk about how games, a lot of games anyway, sort of fake the player experience. So you think you're experiencing something and you're not actually experiencing it. Using subtle little tricks which makes the management of the first-person shooter much simpler. So let me explain kind of what I'm talking about. And I'll do so with a handy-dandy drawing. So basically, what we're used to in video games, right, is we have some player, and the player shoots, and the bullet shoots out, and we shoot some bad guy who then becomes really sad and dead. All right, and that's pretty normal, and we get a nice little blood, whatever. Okay, and that's ideally what we want. However, you will remember that the gun is generally here to the right side. We can generally see the players holding the gun in their right hand, that sort of thing. And so when we build this, if we build this where the gun is like this, what actually happens is the player's line of sight is this to the enemy, but the gun's trajectory might be this, right? Because he's holding it in the right, and he's sort of aiming at the center. So we have this sweet spot right here where the reticule is, where if, you know, you happen to be right at the distance, whatever you're aiming directly on is what you're going to hit. However, if the player's really close, or the enemy's really close, you're going to see that you're going to be hitting them to the right side, which is not where you want. You want to hit them right on the center here. Furthermore, if the player is really far away, right, you'll be hitting them on the left side or missing, you know, again, when you want the collision to be right in the center. So the problem is bringing, having the same effect where the gun is kind of in the right side there. This drawing now looks like crazy, so that isn't all that helpful at all. But the idea is that what we want to do is we kind of want to fake it. And so how we're going to fake it is we're effectively going to have the player, right, and the enemy, and we're still going to shoot straight, all right. However, the visual component, what we see, right, this is my eyeball there, right, oh, some eyelashes, right. Yeah, okay. So what we see is not actually going to be over here. What we're going to see is going to be, I'm going to kind of put a line here, is a separate camera with a gun on it, and a reticule, and a fake bullet effect. So what's actually happening is here, but what the player sees is down here. And by keeping the two disconnected, alright, yeah, so someone in chat just said be sure to save, because if you watched my last one, I forgot to save, and like an hour in, Unity crashed and I lost the whole thing. So I will be saving religiously this time. But the idea is we want to disconnect the mechanics of the game from the visuals of the game. The player won't know, but it's going to make our job of always hitting accurately much, much simpler. Alright? Now, I want to throw out kind of a warning real quick here. I've not tried this yet. I mean, I know this works, and I know the steps, right? And it's what I recommend to people when they ask me, but I've never actually made it myself. And so, hopefully there's no, like, stumbling blocks or anything, but let's see what we got. So I've got this little grid world here. And the first thing I want a first-person character controller. So it's in the sample assets. I have it extracted out in my own Unity package, which if you haven't done that, I highly recommend it. I take collective packages all the time, and I extract them out into their own individual single-serving packages, so they don't need to import a bunch of stuff whenever I want to do anything. And so what we get here is we get our first-person controller, and I can run around, and that's all great. For whatever reason, I'm in 5:4 aspect ratio, so let's at least come to 16:9. That's fine. And so I've got a first-person character controller, and I can run around now. What I want to do is I'm going to give myself some targets. So let's just put some blocks right up here on top of this thing. So let me grab a cube. Just move it on top of this fence thingy-madooger. Yeah, that's fine. I should have a material in here somewhere that looks better. By the way, this is from GDC Mechanism demo. You can find that by looking for it on the asset store. First person controllers from the sample assets. Again, just look in the asset store. Yeah, okay, that block looks alright. So I'm going to grab a cube here, and it's already got a collider on it, so I'm just going to add a ridge body, and I'll just duplicate that a few times. Oops. I said I will duplicate that a few times. Cool. Alright, just so we have some stuff to shoot. Hopefully it's not just going to fall right off there once I start this up. Perfect. Okay, so they stay. Great. Alright, so I got a first-person character controller, and I got some blocks, so I have some stuff that I can shoot, and cool. So we're on our way. And we play this already, and you can see, you know, we get this. Great. Awesome. Whatever. Alright, so far, nothing much. I'm going to save my scene, right? Learning here. Ooh, some people are talking in chat. Let's see here. Is this going to be recorded for view later? Yes. Hopefully. I am in fact recording, yes. How to make multiplayer lessons. Yeah, multiplayer networking is something we want to do for sure. We've got some new networking stuff in the works. So once that's out, we'll definitely cover a lot of materials on it. But yeah, but it's definitely, that's definitely in the works. We definitely know about it, so. Okay, alright. So now let's get to the real meat of this whole thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my asset store here, and I just want to grab a gun, and I don't really care which gun. I think I have one downloaded already. Let me see. No, not favorites. Downloads. I think I have a gun. Get out of here. I don't... Go away. Yeah. Cartoony submachine gun. That sounds about right. Let's just import that. I do love my cartoony submachine guns. So we've got this, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to come like down here, way under the ground. I don't really care where, and I'm going to create a camera. Let's see here, camera. Okay, where's this camera at? Let's put it somewhere that's easy to find. So let's do 0, -8, -5, whatever. Alright, so we have a camera. It's way down here. And I'm going to check my layers, and I have a UI layer. I think I just have that from some other project. If I didn't, I'd just click add layer. Oh, that's from something else, so I'm going to make my own. I don't want any interaction with some of the built-in ones on accident. So I'm going to create this camera. I'm going to put it on the GUI layer, and I'm going to set its culling mask to only be the GUI layer as well. So it can only... GUI layer, it's a terrible name. Wait a minute. Let me change that name. Gun and stuff. There we go. Because it's not really the GUI, so to speak. So it's on the gun and stuff layer, and it can only see the gun and stuff layer. And now let me find my cartoon SMG, which is right here. Just grab that sucker. That's awful big. Let me put this here so I can see what's happening with it. Oh, that's why I can't see it. I have to put it on the gun and stuff layer. Yes, change the children. There we go. So we've got a gun and stuff. Let's see. If I was playing a first-person shooter, how would I be holding that? Maybe something akin to that. Looks alright. Let's do this too. I'm going to put a point light on this. Just to try to shed some light on the gun, but for whatever reason it's not doing that. Oh, there we go. Just increase its range there a little bit. Or its intensity. Well, let's increase its range. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so now I have a gun, and interestingly enough, if I were to take this now, since this has a depth of 0, and set this to depth only, you see what we get. Oh, look at that, right? Now granted, my actual gun is way far away, and and while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to grab my first-person shooter camera, and I'm going to tell it to never see the gun and stuff layer, just in case. You don't want to like have the player turn and look at a weird angle and see some disembodied gun floating off in the distance, because that would be kind of weird. But the result we get is that we effectively have a first-person shooter with the gun there. Now, it's not actually attached to the camera that's attached to the player. It's actually attached to a camera that's way under the ground there, but since we layer our cameras to composite the scene, the player never really knows, right? And so that's the key. The key is trickery. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring in a couple images. The first one is going to be this reticule image. It's just a black box. It's a 64 by 64 black box that I made in Photoshop, which is probably overkill. And I'm going to set it to be a sprite. Alright. Now, normally I'd probably make this as part of the GUI, but I don't want to use the new GUI stuff since it's not quite out yet, and I don't really want to do it the old-fashioned way because the new GUI has spoiled me. Also on this camera, I want to turn off the audio listener. Don't need to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop here into 2D mode and click and drag, which will create the object for me and all that fun stuff that I need. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my camera, and I'm going to say my camera's at 0, -8, -5. So I'm going to put my reticule at 0, -8, I don't know, 0? How's that look? Oh, and put it on the gun and stuff layer. Boop. It's way too big, so let's just put it at, like, you know, let's scale it down. Say 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. How's that look? Sure. So if I hit play now, I get a targeting reticule. The gun's not quite looking at it, which we can remedy. Where's my gun? Oh, come out of 2D mode. Grab my gun. Aim, drop it down a little bit. How's that look? Now it's a little too low. Whatever. We don't really need to fine tune right now, but you get the idea, right? And so now what we have is we've got a reticule and a gun. You can see how they don't actually line up at all. Nothing about them lines up. But when I look in here, you know, I get a nice effect, right? If I wanted it to line up more, I can move the dot further away. Like I can grab this and I can make it maybe say 0.8 by 0.8 by 0.8 and just move it really far away. Right? Oh, I lost my mouse. There it is. Alright, and I get the same effect, only now things will line up a little bit better because it's actually really far away. At any rate, yeah, wait, let me check chat here for me. Okay. Just nothing of note in chat. So, alright, so at this point, you know, we've got some looking around, we've got a targeting reticule and stuff like that. You might have remembered the Fun with Lasers video, if you guys watched that. That's actually where we first talked about the problem of this nonsense, of lining your shots up and not forcing them to cross over. Because if we shot the teddy bears from a distance, you know, everything worked well, we got really close, and all of a sudden we were hitting them kind of off to the side and it didn't work so well. So, now we're able to kind of remedy that. So let's get our shooting working, and then we will focus on the actual script that's going to do the interactivity and stuff like that. What I'd like to do at this point is I'm just going to move all this stuff underneath this camera here, just so they're all nested, nice and neat, in case I ever accidentally bomb something or move something. And I'm going to go ahead and create an empty game object, and I'm going to nest that under the gun, which actually will be nested right under the gun, like that. We'll call it gun tip. There we go, and let's see here. Let me go isometric, align with the Y view, make my floor disappear. Goodbye floor. And let me grab gun tip and line that up a little bit. Should be 0 there. I don't know why scale always gets all weird. 0 there, 0 there. Just lined up, and let's kind of just put it at the end. There we go. Snap there. There we go. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay. And let's bring my floor back. There we go. So we have our gun tip now, which is going to give us the ability to put a line renderer on it, which is going to manage our shooting. So I'll add component. Did gun tip move? It looks like it's right. So we're going to add a component renderer. Where's my line renderer? I can never remember where this thing is. I use it so rarely. Line renderer. It's under effects. Okay. So we've got a line renderer, and we're just going to ensure that's not enabled right there. And it's now kind of just attached, and we'll worry about materials, and definitely isn't going to need to cast shadows or anything like that. It's not going to be using any light probes, and we're just going to leave its position kind of out of the way, and we'll just leave all that stuff as it is. Alright, and then we're going to create a script. So let's create a scripts folder here. And the scripts folder is going to contain our laser script. There we go, and we'll just click and drag that onto gun tip so it's there. There it is, and we'll double click to start editing. Alright, so this code is going to be similar to the lasers video, if you remember that, if you were there for that. If not, this will be fairly new, though it's not going to be exactly like the lasers video. I'm going to make some additions, and for whatever reason it's not letting me. There we go, I can just scroll in that way. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to need a line renderer, which I'm going to call line, and I'm going to have my start method. I know I deleted a start method, I should have just kept it, but I like to do my own formatting. And then line is going to equal GameObject.getComponent, which I don't even need to do. I can just do getComponent, line renderer, and so that's going to give me my line renderer. Alright. Then I know I turned it off in the editor, but just like to make sure, you know, no real problems there. And normally I would lock the cursor, but we're using the first person controller, which automatically locks the cursor for us, so I don't even need to worry about that. So I can move on. And I'm going to say something along the lines of void updates. And now I don't actually have to manage any physics in this script. Last time I did, like last time the line renderer actually managed pushing things and stuff like that. But we're not going to do that with this one, right? So what we're going to do is we're simply going to shoot the laser, right? If we need to shoot the laser. So I'm going to say if input dot get button, and we'll say fire 1, which is a left mouse click. Oh, I hate when it does that. Stop doing that. Trying to auto format for me. Alright, so if that happens, I'm going to say line.enabled equals true. Oh, and there's something else I'm going to need. I'm going to need a transform target. What is it going to aim at? Alright, so we're going to set line enabled equal to true. And actually, what we can do here in the start method is we can even simplify this. Now I'm going off the top of my head, so we can make this even easier. So I'm going to say line dot set position. Just want to make sure I type this right, so I'll leave my autocorrect there. So line dot set position, we'll say 0, and it's going to be transform dot position because it's going to be the position that this is on, which is gun tip, and line dot set position, and the end of this is going to be target dot, oh, I can't type tonight, target dot position. Cool. Before we had to set it like every time, and now I don't think we necessarily need to do that, nor do we need to use a coroutine or any of that other stuff. Basically, if they're holding the button down, we're drawing it. Oh my god. Otherwise, I don't even know what happened there. Otherwise, we're going to turn it back off, and then we're going to fix our formatting. This is what happens when you have multiple instances of MonoDevelop. If you're running like beta versions and stuff like that, MonoDevelop gets all sorts of weird. Speaking of which, Microsoft just acquired Unity VS, and so they're going to be providing that for free, so you can use Visual Studio to do your editing and stuff, which is pretty spectacular, if you ask me. Alright, and so we got that now. Okay, and we'll just save that, make sure that's saved, hop back in Unity, save that, make sure we're saving everything, save. I'm going to come back to gun here. Did that not compile? Oh, I didn't make those public. This one here, target needs to be public. There we go, public. All right. And so we need our target. In this case, let's just make our target reticule, right? Why not, right? Because it's out there, so let's just shoot at it. And one more thing is I'm going to take, I'm going to adjust the size of this to be 0.15, so it's not too big. And I don't really know what's going to happen yet, so nothing happens. Oh, wait a minute. Nothing happens because gun tip is not on the gun and stuff layer. Still a bit big, if you ask me. We can fix that. So let's... Oh, because it didn't... Oh, no, that's the size of my materials array. That's the wrong one. There we go. The width. I was testing you all. Wanted to make sure you were paying attention. Congratulations, you passed, I guess. Alright, so we got a laser. It's not... It kind of bends a little bit. I really kind of need to turn the... Maybe angle the gun downwards a little bit still. Doesn't quite line up. Where's this at? Just... I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little picky. Now it's too far, but whatever. Okay. So cool. So now what we have is we've got a gun, and it's always shooting the center, and it's not actually happening, right? And here's one of the things, and you'll notice this in a lot of first-person shooters, right? This is how you can know whether they're doing this compositing trick or not. Watch what happens when I get really close to this. How is it possible that I can be this close to the wall, and the gun is still in front of me without hitting that wall, and I'm able to shoot that far into the distance, right? See, this is how you can tell in first-person shooters if they're actually compositing, right? If I was smart, I'd expand out the collider of the player that prevents me from hitting the wall. So it'd keep me far away from the wall, right? So I'd stop like right here, maybe, instead of being able to get real close. Or whatever, right? You have to be real careful, too, because doing compositing like this, where they can get really close but the gun's still there, can cause motion sickness in some people, right? It's actually why I can't play Half-Life. Like Half-Life 2 is supposed to be this amazing game. I can't play it. It makes me super motion sick. Because every time I hit a wall and my gun kind of goes into the, or doesn't go into the wall, but I'm way too close to physically be possible, super motion sick every time. So you got to kind of do some things to kind of hedge that out. Also, I want to show you one other thing here, just in case you weren't quite sure what was happening. I'm going to make it so my main camera can see everything. And let's see, where is my guy at? My guy is here. And my gun is almost directly behind me, or underneath me. So watch what happens. This is why we turn off being able to see everything. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to fall here, and you're going to see that gun. There it is. And I can see it shooting. Whee! Right? So that's actually why we turn that off. So that doesn't accidentally happen ever, right? That's why we never draw the layer that has our gun and stuff, because that would be, yeah, that would be kind of weird when people are like, hey, what's that, right? You got to be like, pay no attention to the floating gun in the air in The Wizard of Oz and whatever. I don't know. Alright, so that's all well and good. So now let's make it interactive, right? And so what we want to do now is we want to actually shoot, right? And that's where the main camera, the player's camera, not this gun camera that's hidden down there, but the actual first-person camera, that's where that comes into effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new script, which I'm just going to call shoot script. Now, I could, no spacing, do not space. I could like throw a projectile. However, I got to be careful, because if I actually throw a projectile from the center of the screen, it's not going to be coming out of the gun, right? And so a lot of times what you'll actually have games do is they'll throw up this muzzle flash, which distracts you from the fact that you're not actually shooting bullets, right? Because if you think about it, if you're playing a game and you pull a trigger, right, and the gun flashes and a spark appears where you're aiming, right, either a blood splatter by hitting a player or a spark from hitting a wall or something, your mind is going to go, I shot a bullet, right? Even though you didn't see a bullet, it's traveling too fast, whatever, right? So most games don't actually shoot bullets, right? We just raycast, right? Specifically because bullets, with traveling and stuff like that going so fast, the collision detection is a little bit more difficult, and the bullet has potential to pass through unless our physics is running really quickly, unless we do some special things and calculations to tighten that down. So if I'm making a game where I don't need bullet speed, right, so I don't need to like lead my targets and stuff like that, I won't actually even fire a bullet. Now if I need to actually lead the targets and stuff like that, then I'm going to do some math, and I'm actually going to throw the bullet from the gun on a trajectory to hit the player, or hit whatever I'm aiming at the time I pull the trigger, and the player, and it'll be cool and whatever, right? But we're going to avoid a lot of that work, right? We're just going to assume that we don't need to lead our targets because we want to avoid a lot of that math, at least for tonight. I don't really feel like doing a lot of math right now because tomorrow's the 4th of July and I'm too busy celebrating my freedom from math. So, okay, I'm digressing now. I'm just rambling. Let's open up Shoot Script. Okay, so Shoot Script is going to be basically, someone in chat just said, I never got motion sickness probably because I grew up playing Sonic. Oh, I grew up playing Sonic too. Trust me. It's just the first-person shooter games. Okay, so this script, basically what we're going to be doing is, one of the questions, is there a way to do a curved ray to account for gravity but still avoid physics misses? To avoid physics misses. Not sure what avoiding physics misses is. We can't do a curved ray, right? I assume you want to traject for bullet drop and stuff like that. But basically all you really need to do is, well, unless you want to curve a bullet over an obstacle or something like that. But realistically what you do is you pick your target point and where you're aiming, and then figure out, with calculation really quickly, figure out the distance, how long it would take the bullet to get there, how much gravity would affect in that time, and move it downward, and that's your new position, and then just raycast that way. That's not going to allow you to shoot over walls and stuff like that, but in most games you're not really shooting over walls and stuff like that anyway, right? If you want to get real stuff like the bullet drops and things like that in a lot of modern first-person shooters, I mean, it takes a lot of work, right? A lot of people think like, oh, you just throw a bullet and it's okay. But really there's a lot of calculation and a lot of work and a lot of very specialized code that does all that stuff. So we're obviously not going to tackle that tonight, but no, this solution is not going to give you all of those bells and whistles. It can. This is a base layer for doing a lot of that stuff, but there's a lot more work that can be put in to get like your battlefields and stuff like that. All right. Let's see, when it's moving too fast. Well, that's what we raycast. So, physics misses when it's moving too fast and it passes through an object. That's why we raycast. We raycast so that doesn't happen, because a raycast won't do that, but actually throwing a physical object will. Okay, anyway, shoot script, right? Getting kind of back on target here. So, I kind of want to just, I'm going to wing this again, so I'm going to say void update, because I kind of know what I want to do. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if input.get button fire 1, so the player's hitting the left mouse button. What we want to do is we basically want to raycast from the center of the screen, which shoot script is going to be on the camera, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say raycast hit, so that's our raycast hit object, and then ray equals a new ray, and position is going to be transform dot position, and direction is going to be transform, no, not that transform, little transform dot forward. So basically we're going to be at the center of the camera. We're just going to go forward. So that's going to be our raycast hit variable and our ray, and then we're basically going to say if physics dot raycast, and what we're going to be passing in is, which one of these do I want? This one. Ray and, ooh, caps lock's on. Whoops. Ray and out hit, which is going to be our by reference raycast hit variable, and then distance, and let's say, I don't know, 100, which is really, really far, right? So this gun is going to shoot like ridiculously far. That's an if statement, so I definitely don't want to be doing all that. So if that hits something, and then we're going to say if hit dot, let's see, if the object has a rigid body, because we only want to apply a force to it if it has a rigid body. And so if it has a rigid body, then we are going to apply some force to it. And let's see, how much force do we want to apply to this? Let us do hit dot rigid body dot add relative force. Our relative force is going to be transform dot forward times, I don't know, 5. That's just a guess. Transform dot forward times 5, and then where is going to be hit dot point. All right. Okay. So that should handle, it's going to throw a ray out. If the ray hits something, it's going to check if it has rigid body. If it has rigid body, we're going to apply a force to it at the point that we hit it. I think that's everything. I'm looking over this here. Let's see, cast a ray, ray hits. Yeah, okay. Let's see if this does anything. Let's see here. Let's come, oop, I got an error. Force mode. Add relative force. Oh, that's right. And what force mode do I want to use? Let's do, wait a minute. I shouldn't have to provide a force mode. Force mode, XYZ, force mode. Why am I thinking I supply the hit point? Oh, wait a minute, because I'm using that wrong function. Duh. Add force at position is the one I want, which is going to be force position mode. See, I should only have to provide force and position. Okay, I had the wrong function. My apologies. And there we go. Okay, so now we're back. Let me just place this on the camera. Shouldn't require anything. Let's hit play. I'm still shooting, but now that's kind of weak. Let's jazzercise this bad boy. Let's go. By the way, a lot of times we do this. Public float, say force equals 5f, right? To make it appear in the editor. Ta-da! But if you know about class security, right? Because this is kind of a newbie way of doing this, right? I always do this for my intro stuff and whatnot. But it's actually much smarter to do serialized field. Oops. Serialized field allows it to continue to be private, right? But we're not really going to get into serialization. But basically, allows the code to the field to still be a private field, but allowing it to still appear in the editor, right? So yeah, just so you know, if you want to use class security, which is a good idea, right? We can always do serialized field instead. And instead of multiplying by 5, we're going to multiply by force. Avoid some magical numbers there. Come back into Unity. Now we're doing 20 and oop. There we go. Boom. Get a little closer. Boom, boom. The nice thing is there's no place in which we can come back. Oh, there's actually a collider across this whole thing, so I won't be able to see that. I really should have thought about where I put those. Let's see here. Let's grab all of you. You're all such good cubes. Duplicate. Apparently I did not duplicate. Duplicate. There we go. Duplicate. Legions of cubes. I don't know, let's just get weird with it. They're all gonna fall, but that's part of the fun. Doop. And then we can start shooting. Ooh, they all fall over kind of together, don't they? I figured. I suppose the friction's too high for you to just knock the middle one out. Now I'm just screwing around. Physics material, there's a bouncy one. But if I were to say, go physics material, slippery. And dynamic friction 0, static friction 0, bounciness 0.3. Friction combine, minimum bounce, maximum. We're going to leave this friction directions and stuff alone. And then I'm going to grab all of my cubes. Well, those to start. Slippery and slippery. I should be able to like... Now they're slightly bouncy and all slippery and stuff. Oh, I made them too slippery. They gotta stop a little bit. Whoops. And I don't like that bounciness. So we'll just... I don't remember what bounciness was, but we'll leave it at that. Static friction 0.2. 0.2. What does that do for us? Yeah, I can kind of shoot the ones out of the middle. Oh well. I mean, you guys get the idea, right? So yeah, at this point, I mean, we were able to kind of shoot at the exact center no matter where, right? No matter what we're doing, we can always shoot and hit exactly what we're aiming at, regardless of our distance, which is what we really want. That's super powerful, right? Because the problem with all of the, hey, I'm going to put the gun on the player, or hey, I want the gun off to the side, or, you know, there's some problems with all of it, shooting down the middle, shooting off to the right, and all that. But this is our way of faking it, right? With using scene composition, which is an incredibly powerful way to approach this. Now, I would be remiss if I stopped right here. So I'm going to create a folder called Materials, only because tomorrow is the 4th of July. I have my texture for my laser. So let's create a material. We'll call it laser mat for laser material. Drop that on there, and I believe we want particle effects vertex blended. That doesn't look right. I gotta check my notes. That's been a long time. Particles vertex lit blended is the one I want. Vertex lit blended. Okay, apparently that's what we need. And let's go down to my gun tip. Let's drop that on the material, which is here. There we go. I don't know why it says 2, 1. There we go. Laser material. Now we shoot. Oh, it's dark. That's no good. We want it to be lit up. Why are you so dark? I need to choose unlit. I don't think I can do this unlit. Just see what happens if I do that. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Oh, hey, that looks good. So I just went with our what did I go with? I always end up clicking this other stuff. I went with unlit texture. Oh, that's simple enough. With one I was using previously, a particle shader looked better, but there we go. Red, white, and blue for your little American adventures. Happy Freedom Day. Shoot some blocks all over the place based on our super dark black reticule. We could add little effects at the hit points to give us sparks and stuff like that to really sell it, you know, but you get the idea, right? So basically what we have here is we have a first-person shooter now that is a little bit more flexible, right? And now, granted, when you get really close to stuff, it looks kind of weird, but you know, you can put work into your scripts to kind of reduce that, right? You can determine how far you are from the object you're hitting and adjust the line renderer to not get so narrow. We could bring the line renderer in closer. So for instance, if I were to say, and let's see, I'm not entirely certain how this is going to look, if I were to grab my reticule and just bring it closer, right? Now, granted, it's going to be huge right now. See, the line render is a little bit fatter now, and I could scale down the reticule, but you can see, so now it actually is closer, right? And yeah, so I could actually bring it in real close. I don't know, something like that, and 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, run it. See how much fatter it is now. It doesn't really drop down as much. So I'd want my reticule maybe to be a little bit bigger to kind of compensate, but you get the idea, right? So yeah, scene composition, right? A lot of people have asked me, like, why would you ever want 2 cameras in a scene? How do you use these, like, where's the camera at? Oops. How do we use these, like, clear flags and stuff like that, culling masks? How do they all work together? And there you go. I mean, that's pretty much how, right? This one has a depth, or this camera has a depth that's higher than the other camera. The other one's -1, this one's 0. And so we just set it so I can only see the gun stuff, and only the gun stuff, and all the stuff for our guns is on that layer, and we just don't clear, or we set depth only. Don't ever click don't clear, right? Don't clear is not what you want, right? Now in this case it's okay because the other camera is clearing out for us, but if that one was also set to don't clear, just to give you an idea, this is what you get, right? And I doubt that's what you want. So yeah, we don't use don't clear. That one's skybox, this one, oops, depth only, and yeah, cool. All right, so at that point, I don't I think that should be good. unless anyone has any questions in chat. But that's basically what I wanted to talk about. How long was this? How long am I even going? I don't even know. I don't even know when I started. I really should pay attention to these things. Probably about 40 minutes. I don't know. 39 minutes and 55 seconds. So yeah, about 40 minutes. Shorter video. Didn't really need it to be a full like hour-long official live session. I will probably clean this up and actually have this as an official Unity live session later, with much more professional and well thought out stuff. But again, this was just sort of off the top of my head. I may have made some scripting errors, or obviously didn't make any errors, but stuff that could have been done better. And the like, so whatever. If you are watching on YouTube and you're like, rubble, this could be done better, what a noob, right? You can save it. I don't want to hear it. I don't know. If I did something wrong, tell me. But yeah, anyway. Okay, so yeah, if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to post them in chat. I'm going to go ahead and end the video, only so that I can get it uploaded. But I will stick around and chat. Can you go over it again? I wasn't paying attention. I believe you, Foxman. I believe you weren't paying attention, but it's okay. It will be recorded and posted on the interwebs to exist in the annals of history forever and ever, and when the alien overlords eventually destroy us all, they can sit down and watch me shoot blocks with a red, white, and blue laser and understand how it is exactly that man fell so easily. Yeah. Okay. So you all have a pleasant evening, and yeah, eventually I'll have another official live session. With traveling and whatnot, it makes it a little harder. But in the meantime, Adam's been doing a great job. Check it out, unity3d.com/learn, and ooh, AVG needs updated. Unity3d.com/learn to check that stuff out. Oh, I guess I could do this too. Questions, comments, concerns. Check us out, Unity3D, at Mike Geig, which is me, at Will Goldstone, and at the Ant Ranch, to answer all of your stuff. So, yeah. Ooh, am I going to be at Unite? I will be at Unite. I will be doing the Unite training day, which is the first day there. So, if you come to Unite, come check it out. Can I have a rigid body move by wind force? Yes, you can. Where will this be uploaded? YouTube and my website. I actually have a website, and I don't ever update it. I really need to update it, but I'll be putting this on here. But my website is here, fixedbyproximity.com, where I just have stuff. And who's that handsome guy? Look at that guy. That guy screams charisma, doesn't he? But yeah, so it'll be here, fixedbyproximity.com, and I'll have a post about it and stuff like that. But tonight or tomorrow or something like that. But I'll be uploading it to YouTube soon. So okay, I've rambled long enough. I'm saving my scene, so I don't forget, and that should be everything. So thank you all for whoever stuck around and watched, and I will catch you all later. Take care.